Good morning and welcome to the show. This is In Touch, and I am Beth, Christy, your hostess. In Touch is our weekly half-hour public affairs show, which means at the end of the program, if you are a member of a nonprofit group or organization, or you are a company here in the Hudson Valley helping out a nonprofit group or organization, we'd love to have you on the program to talk about what is important to you, issues that are of concern to you. So I will give you all of my information at the end of the program today. Let me also say that this is pre-recorded. And whatever station you're listening to this morning, know that you can go to that station's website and you can listen to this show in its entirety. So in case there's phone numbers, websites, Facebook, we'll have all that there for you. So let me turn on microphones and let me say it is nice. We're welcoming back Jody Miller. She is the Executive Director of the Mediation Center of Dutchess County. Jody, thank you very, very much.
Good morning, Beth. It's great to be back.
Good morning. Nice to have you here. And Honey Minkowitz is making her debut performance. Should I say, on In Touch. Honey is the bullying prevention coordinator at the Mediation Center of Dutchess County. So, Honey, thanks for being willing to put yourself behind the mic, and it'll be okay.
Definitely. Thank you, Beth.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried whatsoever. So, obviously, since I have introduced both of our guests from the Mediation Center of Dutchess County, that's what we're going to be talking about. There's some specifics of what's going on in the next month. But Jody, I want to start with you. When people hear the Mediation Center of Dutchess County, what does that mean? How can that fit in someone's life? So if you can just kind of, bring us up to speed, so to speak.
So if you're having a conflict with a family member, a neighbor, a business, an organization, workplace related, we're the place to go. We specialize in helping people work through conflict constructively. Mm-hmm. So that might mean coming in for a conversation where our neutral third-party mediators would facilitate a conversation, a face-to-face conversation between you and the other party. Or it could mean that we would provide some training for your organization or around conflict resolution and communication, how to more effectively communicate in a difficult situation. Or we might you might talk to us confidentially about what's going on, and we may have some ideas about some other services that could also be helpful.
Okay.
So we often hear people say, I didn't know you were here if I had known sooner.
Right.
So if you have a conflict or you're just not sure what to do about that, you can give us a call and we'll talk with you confidentially, help you sort through that, and figure out whether mediation or one of our other services might be a really good fit.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. That's what I like. When I was explaining and talking about the format of the show, how I just really like this to be as if ourselves and our listeners are just sitting around a big kitchen table, cup of coffee, just kind of finding out about it. And I think that every time we talk about the Mediation Center, at least from my point of view, I always learn something new and I go, I could have used that when. That's typically what I think about. It's interesting, too, when you talk about in organizations. Mm-hmm. Lately, and I don't know why, and I'm not going to even theorize why, but I've seen an awful lot of articles in Yahoo Business, in CNN Business, some of the other blogs that I follow of, bosses that are manipulative, coworkers who want to stab you in the back. Peer pressure exists even after you leave school. Yes. There is still peer pressure. Mm-hmm. And so to me, when you talked about the organizations that you could call, maybe the organization, you can do a workshop, so that's really powerful stuff.
Yes, we love to do that. And sometimes mediation face-to-face isn't going to work for people. They decide that that's not a conversation they want to have. But we have, for organizations, we have done training, done a workshop, 2-3 hours. We work with them to decide what is their goal and what we can provide for them. And we go in and do a workshop, and it gives people some tools to say, okay, let me try this. Let me try that. Oh, I understand this differently, how conflict affects me and affects the other person. So that gives me some more insight into what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. So there could be a range of things that we could help with. And organizations, workplace, most of us spend quite a lot of time at work.
Yes.
So having a healthy workplace, being transparent as much as possible, being open and communicating well helps everyone in the organization. When staff don't know what's going on or, there's manipulation and things like you were just describing, it really affects well-being, but it also affects productivity.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
So if you want to, if people
absolutely.
think, even thinking just about the bottom line, your bottom line isn't as good if your people aren't feeling good.
Because if there's not communication and someone feels they're being left out of the loop, and then, they kind of start in their own world going, okay, well, I'm being shut out. Am I being fired? Am I doing this? And then fears come into it.
Right.
And then you start to notice that they start to gather other people, and then there becomes conspiracy theories sometimes. And then there becomes, we know we're not getting a good shake. At that point, you are now spending so much time trying to figure out why you've been left out, that you aren't really paying as much. You can't. You just cannot pay as much attention. If you're in a creative business, I say you cannot be as creative because you have a major block in front of you.
Right. It's a huge distraction.
Yeah.
So we, in training or in workshops, we try to help identify what are some ways to communicate differently, what are some things to think about. Again, how to understand the effect of conflict on ourselves and on others, to give people some tools to utilize and to make decisions about what they want to do.
And I also like that if it comes into an individual's life, if it's with a neighbor, if it's going through a divorce, if there's a custody with a child, if there's grandparents who may not be on the same page and who may find themselves as guardians. Which that's happening a lot.
Yes.
A lot. Then here's a place to come and get tools.
Yes. And we also have a great network of other resources in our community that people may not know about. So we're happy if we hear something coming up. Mediation might be one thing, and there could be other services that we want to let people know about, like the Relatives as Parents program through Cornell Cooperative Extension. Is a support for grandparents raising grandchildren or other family members raising grandchildren. So our staff are really well connected to many other resources. And so when we hear those things coming up, we let people know what else is available in the community.
That's cool. Very, very cool. So, honey, you've been quiet enough. I know you thought, wow, this is really easy. I'm just going to be here.
It was so easy.
But, as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, there's so many, and as Jody has just skimmed the surface, really, of so many things that the Mediation Center of Dutchess County can do. One of the things I mentioned, peer pressure exists everywhere.
It does.
Bullying, unfortunately, exists everywhere.
Exactly.
I've seen it with adults. We've seen it with children. So, and obviously, unfortunately, I should say, not obviously, but unfortunately, it's there's been a lot of instances, and they've been well documented. And for everyone that's well documented, I can't even imagine how many that aren't.
Oh, exactly. It's incredibly prevalent. And it's something that affects everyone. I think everyone has a personal story with bullying, whether it's you yourself personally or someone that you know, a good friend, a neighbor. We've all seen bullying happen, and it's a continuing thing. It doesn't just end in childhood. It can definitely bleed into the workplace as people grow up and move on in their lives. It can definitely affect the workplace as well.
Because I've also, and part of me thinks if someone is a bully, that they don't stop being a bully when they get a diploma.
Right.
There's a chance that they will continue to be a bully in college, in a workplace, in how they conduct themselves in their personal life. Right. And conversely, if someone has been bullied, those impacts don't end when they get a diploma.
Exactly. Someone can be re-victimized throughout their life. And bullying behavior doesn't just end, it doesn't just stop. But there are many things that we can do to prevent it from happening, to educate, to change systems, to change the way that we look at bullying behavior, and things that we can do to take real action.
Okay. So I've got, and I have to say, I'm impressed. I love it. I've got in front of me on the board, this is when I wish we almost had a webcam, to see, because October is Bullying Prevention Month.
That's right.
So this is the perfect time that why you guys are here. And there is a lot when you say that there are programs, there are tools, there are things you can do. You're not just saying that. I'm looking at just a sample of what it is you can do. So let's talk about some of them, because there's an awful lot going on. I like the hashtag be an upstander. So let's talk about that.
Sure. So we're starting a hashtag campaign. It's hashtag be an upstander. We're doing this because upstander is a word that's used in bullying prevention about being someone who stands up to bullying, be someone who promotes kindness, be someone who is somebody's hero. If you see bullying happen, get involved, support the person who's being bullied. So that's one of the things that we're doing for Bullying Prevention Month is starting this hashtag campaign.
I like that. Okay. I'm gonna have to follow that along and share that out. Okay.
Definitely.
I like that. Yes.
We'll have a tip every day.
Oh, cool. Cool. Now, are you guys, and I don't mean to stop the flow of the conversation. This is when I said I might do that. This is exactly the point.
Okay.
In case you I always warn people before we turn the microphone on, there's going to come a point where you're going to look at me and go, okay. Are you guys on Twitter? Mediation. You're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, Instagram?
Facebook.
Facebook. So you'll start the hashtag on Facebook. That's what I need to know. Okay.
Right.
Got it? We can do that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done. I want to make sure people know where it is that they can. And obviously, I know a lot of folks will have their Facebook linked to Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think you guys would mind if it went out on Twitter and
No,
continue
exactly.
the hashtag
Great.
as well.
Great.
Okay, all right.
We want it everywhere.
Anywhere you possibly can.
Exactly.
But I like that. I like that. Be an upstander. That's a hashtag, be an upstander. So keep that in mind and start looking for it and start searching for it and start showing your kids that and showing your coworkers
Exactly.
that. I think it'd be very, very powerful. Okay. What are some of the other things you guys have going on for the month of October?
As Jody
As I
mentioned,
say, it's such a loaded question.
there's a lot of stuff going on in October.
Yes.
As Jody mentioned, we're going to be posting a tip for every day of the month. So
Nice.
every day there's going to be an anti-bullying tip. It may be a resource. It may be things that you can do personally. It may be a way that you can support someone who's being bullied or a way that you can support someone who's displaying bullying behavior. Or something you can do in your workplace. So for every day of the month, we'll be posting a tip that will be helpful and useful in terms of bullying prevention and intervention.
Nice. So that's such a, you know what? I don't think you can make it any easier. It's on Facebook.
Right.
Look at it at lunch.
Exactly.
When you get up in the morning. You know what? Here's the other thing that I've always found. You get information, I think, sometimes when you need it most.
Yes.
You know, you find a quote that really speaks to you at that moment. You know, you open up a book and you turn to the page and you go, oh, well, look at that. There it is. This is what I think about these tips on Facebook that you don't know. Somebody could look at your feed that day and you will have provided a tool that someone didn't know that they could even get.
Exactly. And that's really what we're trying to provide, resources for people to get connected, whether it's becoming part of our movement, joining one of our committees, our anti-bullying initiative, either the walkathon or the youth summit, which we'll talk about, or if it's just something that they can enact in their daily life.
Yeah.
We want to provide that resource so people can make change, they can make a difference, they can be somebody's hero. They can take a stand against bullying.
I like that because I think that, and I say this from the layperson's perspective, that, you know, a bully can rule by fear. And if you take control and you have a tool, you remove that.
Exactly.
And you remove that control.
It's really
you take
about,
it back.
Right. It's really about empowerment.
Yeah.
And that is what stretches through the entire mediation center. We are an empowerment organization. We want people to make the best choices possible for themselves.
I love that. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Now, I know that, as I mentioned, this show is pre-recorded. It's going to run this Sunday. And I know there was a registration by October 1st, which by the time folks hear this will be done. But I still want to talk about the fact that you guys are having an anti-bullying youth summit. It's the third one. So let's still talk about that because I just think that's powerful that people know that that's there.
Definitely. And just because the deadline is October 1st, people shouldn't be discouraged.
Okay, great.
We may still have spaces available.
Okay.
So this is a free youth summit for students in grades 7 through 12, for students in Dutchess County. And we have student-presented workshops as well. So it's really students presenting to other students about bullying prevention, intervention, and inclusivity.
Wow, that's powerful. Someone in your own peer group to be able to talk with you about maybe what their experience is, what they've learned, how they've overcome. Because sometimes it is overwhelming. I have in my own personal life very recently been hit with text messages from an individual that I'm just like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, this is like, I mean, you feel this pressure, this constant pounding because a certain outcome is, and I'm like, what is going on here? And that's why I think, again, it's so powerful you guys are here today. I will be looking at those tips every day. You should just know that. But I love it, the fact that you can talk to someone who may have been where you are right now. And I think that is extremely powerful. Someone who can say, okay, it's a rough patch. Here's some tools. Here's what you can do. Here's a good way to respond. Here's a good way to not respond.
Right.
You know, all of those things. Do you say something? Do you not say anything? What do you do? Because your head starts spinning. I mean, it's not easy. So I think that's powerful that this program is going on for the youth.
And you have no idea how you're going to impact somebody.
Right, right.
Somebody could be going through something awful, and you might have no idea. But showing that person a little bit of kindness can go a long way. And I'm not kidding when I say it could save somebody's life.
Right. Yes. You're not kidding. Unfortunately, you're not kidding. It really can give someone a tool that when they think they're at the end of the rope, they're not.
Exactly.
There's a hand there for them to grab onto. So the 3rd annual Anti-Bullying Youth Summit, when is it? Where is it? And what can people do just to see if there's any openings still left?
It is at Marist College on October the 24th.
Okay.
It'll be at the Student Center. We're very, very pleased to be partnering with Marist College this year to have the event at the Student Center and with the Marist College School of Social Work.
Oh, cool.
So there will be Marist students presenting workshops as well, which we're very pleased about. If students are interested or schools are interested or parents are interested, they can definitely contact the Mediation Center at 845-471-7213, or they can check out our website at dutchessmediation.org and find out if there's still spaces available. Registration, we try to make it as easy as possible. People can register right online. So schools have been signing up, and it's really taking off. We've got quite a few students signed up. It's very exciting. It's very exciting to see a lot of people interested, and that this is a fantastic resource for students to give information to other students.
Right. So, you know, I remember, I think, Jody, you were on the show before the first one, I think.
Yes.
And, you know, it's one of those instances where you wish you didn't have to talk about it, but we can't live our life with our head buried in the sand.
Right.
We do need to talk about it. And I think it's very powerful for people here that you guys have taken the initiative. You've taken the lead. There is someplace you can go that you don't have to suffer and sit in your home and worry yourself into illness.
That's right. And Beth, that's what we heard from people when we held our first community conversation around bullying 3 years ago, right before our walkathon. People were saying, where do we go? What do we do? There's no local resource to address bullying. And so we really saw that as part of our charge at the Mediation Center we saw this need, and it's consistent with our mission to help people resolve conflict. And so we launched this to really be across the community continuum, meaning we have a walkathon as a community engagement activity every year now. We have the Youth Summit, which is targeted for grades 7 through 12 and really designed to, as Honey said, support empowerment in youth in the work in their communities. And now we also have a school-based program, the Olveus Bullying Prevention Program, evidence-based, where we're partnering with schools, and Honey can talk more about that, as a way to because what we know is that it's not enough for students. One thing is to stand up, be an upstander, don't just be a bystander, but you also need the systems to change. So the adults to be on the same page And this program supports everyone in the school, the whole school, to do the same thing, to know what to do when they see bullying, to have the same definition for bullying, to know what to do when they see it, and to act, so that the students are supported. So we really see this as a very broad initiative. And we're really very thankful to have county support through a Dutchess County Agency Partner Grant, through the United Way of the Dutchess Orange Region. We have supporters for the Youth Summit, Rhinebeck Bank, and Marshall and Sterling. So we're engaging partners, many partners, both private sector as well as nonprofit and government, to tackle this issue.
Because it impacts everybody.
Yes.
It impacts everyone, whether you are work in the public, whether you work at a private company, in your home, if you're a teacher, it doesn't matter. It impacts everyone. It impacts the health of the community. I mean, it has such far-reaching. I can't think of a better word other than tentacles, which it just completely freaks me out because that just. Ugh. But that's the best word that I can come up with. It really impacts everyone. So, honey, talk about that, the school-based program.
Sure.
How does that work?
We offer the Alveus Bullying Prevention Program, and I'm actually a certified Alveus Bullying Prevention Program trainer. What I do is I go into schools and I train committees of adults. The committee of adults should have teachers from all different grade levels, administration, so principal or vice principal, other staff as like a school nurse or social worker or school psychologist, and non-teaching staff like cafeteria workers or hall monitors. The people that are in the building that may see things that teachers and administrators might not. So these committees are trained to implement the program. And the program is really a 5-prong program. There's an individual component, a classroom component, a school-wide component, a parent component, and a community component. And it's really about getting everyone on the same page. It is a systems change model. And I think it's probably one of the only ways you can really combat bullying is to change people's perspectives, change the systems, and really get everyone with a common understanding of what this behavior is and how we can actually influence it. So we're currently working with Ralph R. Smith Elementary School in Hyde Park. They had their kickoff of their program a couple of weeks ago. Cool. And it was fantastic. So we trained their bullying prevention coordinating committee last January and February. And they've been working, their bullying prevention coordinating committee has been working throughout the summer to look at their school rules. So all the schools that implement this program will have bullying rules. So how can they teach the students about bullying rules? And at their kickoff a couple of weeks ago, they had fantastic games to get students engaged to learn about what are the bullying rules in Ralph R. Smith. So it was a lot of fun. We had some great speakers. And their program is now on its way. And what that means is every week or two they will have a classroom meeting, and the students in the classroom meeting with their teacher will talk about what is bullying, how do we become a more inclusive environment for every student, what do we do when we see mean and hurtful behavior, what is mean and hurtful behavior, and really connecting the socio-emotional learning to core curriculum. And the other fantastic thing about this program is, number one, it's the only program, LVS Bullying Prevention Program is the only bullying prevention program with over 35 years of research, so it's an evidence-based program. But it's also consistent with the Dignity for All Students Act and what New York State is now requiring schools to do in regards to bullying prevention.
Wow. Wow. I'm thank God you're here. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. I love the fact that you, as you pointed out, it's an evidence base. This is not just someone is hoping that this is going to work. There is evidence that it does work, that these are the steps that you can take. And I think Jody and Honey, you both said it, if you're going to ask someone to be an upstander, you need to give them support. It's very hard to be the only person. Right. Taking that first step as an individual is extremely important, but unless it's a systems change, there's only so far I think that it may go. And so this is
Exactly.
really the commitment of everybody to really empower and to change.
Right.
And to not allow this. So how can schools can contact to find out about this program? Is that how they would need to do that?
Exactly.
Okay.
They can contact the Mediation Center 471-7213 or dutchessmediation.org. And
Okay.
I'd be happy to tell them about our program. And as Jody said, we do have funding to provide surveys to schools. We're providing surveys for 5,000 third through fifth graders to get an overview of where the hot spots are in their schools, if students feel supported in their schools. This is the LVS Bullying Prevention Questionnaire, so it really gives a great overview of what bullying looks like in each school.
Okay.
And we've also been provided funding to implement the entire bullying prevention program into schools in Dutchess County.
Wow. Wow. That's major. That is massive. Okay. So folks can call to get information, 845-471-7213. I can't believe we're already 26 minutes into the show. I should point that out. This is why I go over. This is why every week. So in the next couple of minutes before we do closing comments, are there other events coming up that you want to make sure that people are aware of? Or obviously go to the Facebook page because those events will all be on there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so the Anti-Bullying Youth Summit is Friday, October 24th. October is Bullying Prevention Month. There'll be a tip a day,
Exactly.
which I love. And then, of course, the hashtag Be an Upstander. Is there
correct.
any other events coming up right now that you want to make sure that people at least get on the radar?
One more thing.
Okay.
It's associated with our Anti-Bullying Youth Summit. This is the first year that we will be recognizing bullying prevention efforts that students in grades 7 through 12 are doing in their schools and communities. And so we are seeking nominations for the Upstander Award.
Oh, cool.
So if there's a student or a student group in grades 7 through 12 that has been engaged in a bullying prevention or intervention or inclusivity effort within their school or community, we would love to have a nomination for our annual Upstander Award,
Okay.
which will be presented at the Youth Summit on October the 24th.
Nice. So where can they make those nominations at? What do they need to do?
They should go to our website,
Okay.
dutchessmediation.org, and there's a link to a nomination form, which I promise only takes 5 to 10 minutes to fill out.
Well, what I'll do is I mentioned at the beginning of the show today, I'm going to write up an article that's going to go on the website that will go on all the websites. And I will make sure that one of the many links, I'll link to the Facebook page.
Great.
I'll link to your website as a whole, but I will also make sure that I link to this portion to be able to nominate someone. So if you're listening this morning, please know that you can do that. Go there. The links will be highlighted. You'll just click. It will get you there. And if I completely messed up, which I'm hoping I won't, it'll at least get you to the website. I should just at least say that. But we will have all the links. So people sit down, we think it's 30 minutes is forever, but it goes so fast. It goes so fast. Jody, final thoughts, and you guys will have to come back, but final thoughts for this morning.
Yeah, we're very excited, as you could tell, about Bullying Prevention Month. And we also have helped people figure out what to do about bullying situations. So again, if you have a situation in your life you're not really sure what to do about it, we may be able to help. So you can give us a call, and we'll have a confidential conversation with you about whether it's a bullying incident or a conflict incident, something that's troubling you that you're looking for some support with. You can give us a call.
Beautiful. And that number is 845-471-7213.
Yes.
Got it. And honey, some closing comments from you.
I think that it's important to know that people can make a difference in other people's lives, and you never know how you're going to touch or impact someone. So even if you're hesitant about reaching out, if you think somebody's in trouble, do it, because you don't know how you're going to change them.
Right. Very, very well said. The website, again, is dutchessmediation.org, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are on Facebook. And again, I will link to all of that. Jody and honey, thanks, guys, so very, very much. And I know you'll be back, because you guys really, one thing I must say, the Mediation Center, you guys are looking at the community the way it is, what's going on, what is happening, what are the needs of the community, what do people need help with? I mean, you guys really, you're not just sitting back going, well, here's our menu of programs. This is it. It's going to take probably 2 years before we develop a new one. That's not what you guys are doing. You guys are right in there, interactive, knowing what's happening on, understanding the pressures that people have. That to me is, if anybody is listening this morning and has a problem, know that you are talking to folks who get it.
Thank you, Beth.
Who really get it. So Jody and Honey, thank you guys so very, very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
No problem. And thanks to you guys. If there is any information that you need, if you've missed a phone number, again, know that you can go to the station's website you're listening to this morning, but you can also call me, 845-471-1500. My extension is 159. If you want to be on the program, use that number to get a hold of me. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Pinterest. I'm probably too many places, but I'm there and you can find me. Take care of yourself and those you love, and we'll see you right here next week.